There's something that happens in those long-running games, a quiet shift. I've seen it at my own table, and if you've been running your campaign for a while now, I bet you've probably felt it at yours too.
It's that feeling, maybe a year or more in, where you just kind of notice the tension has gone out of the air. The sessions are still good, right? Everyone's laughing, dice are rolling, but that sharp edge of uncertainty, that feeling that made the whole table lean in, wondering what was really behind that door, is just not there in the same way.
And welcome to The Dungeon Master's Apprentice. This channel is about RPG design, consequences, and why games actually work at the table. And look, this isn't some dramatic collapse. It's not a campaign ending because of a TPK or some big argument over the rules. No, it's quieter than that. It's more subtle. It's a fade. The early game, man, it felt so alive with risk. Every choice felt heavy. But now, the party's competent, they're powerful, they handle things, and the game becomes more stable. The challenges come up, they get overcome, and it feels like the world just sort of resets for the next adventure. The air itself changes.
This is a really natural arc. It's a pattern that comes from success, from the players doing everything right. What you're feeling is just the campaign evolving past its first form. And to really see why it happens, it kind of helps to look all the way back to the beginning.
So think back to those first few sessions. The tension, that pressure, it was just there. You didn't have to build it, you didn't have to manufacture it. It was just an inherent part of the world you were all building together.
That initial pressure, it really comes from a few fundamental things, and we often don't even think about them consciously, but they totally define the whole experience of low-level play.
Remember when the fighter had, 12 hit points? A single goblin, hiding in the dark, rolls a critical hit, and suddenly, everything just stops. The whole table holds its breath. The players double-checking their sheet, you're looking at your notes. That one lucky arrow could have been the end of that character's whole story, right then and there. That fragility creates this constant humming tension.
And the world itself was a threat. The map had these huge, empty spaces. I remember a party spending nearly half a session just debating how to cross a single river because they had no earthly idea what was on the other side. Every door was a real question. Every single NPC's motive was suspect. The unknown was this endless source of pressure.
Oh, and every single resource mattered. I have seen tables spend 10 real-world minutes agonizing over whether to use their last healing potion now or save it for the fight they know is coming. Deciding to use a second-level spell slot, that wasn't just a tactical choice, it was a huge commitment with real consequences for the rest of the day. That scarcity makes every choice so meaningful.
But as the characters succeed, as they get more powerful, they start solving the very things that created all that initial pressure. And they do it so gradually, so slowly, that we often don't even notice it's happening. If you want more personal thoughts on RPG design and consequences, especially the ideas that don't always fit into a video, I write a short newsletter between uploads. There's a link in the description if you want that.
Think about that moment the party gets their first bag of holding. It's a huge celebration, right? But what it also means is you will likely never have another conversation about rations, or rope, or encumbrance ever again. An entire category of pressure just vanishes into thin air. The wizard learns fly, and all of a sudden cliffs and chasms aren't obstacles anymore. They're just scenery. Success erodes friction.
And so the whole nature of the game changes. In the early game, just surviving is the point. But in the late game, it becomes about efficiency. Threats at the start, they feel immediate. They feel personal. Later on, though, they tend to just wait politely for the heroes to finish their current quest. The world kind of stops pushing back, and instead just waits for the players to act.
So we try to compensate, right? We make the monsters bigger. More hit points, more damage. But all we're really doing is escalating the numbers, not the nature of the pressure. The characters are so resilient that the threat of a single goblin gets replaced by the threat of 20 ancient dragons, but the dynamic feels exactly the same, just with bigger dice pools. And that, right there, is when the quiet fade really begins to set in.
But here's the thing. High-level play doesn't need to be harder in the same way. The weight just needs to change. The pressure has to evolve right alongside the characters. In the real world, the job of a junior employee is totally different from the job of a senior leader. It's not just a harder version of the same old tasks. The entire nature of their responsibility has changed. The same thing is true for our player characters.
A junior employee gets a task and they focus on getting it done. A senior leader, though, they look at 10 different fires burning all at once and have to decide which one do we fight, which one can I delegate, and which one do we just have to let burn. See, low-level play is all about handling tasks. High-level play needs to become about making those leadership decisions.
This is the crucial shift. For a high-level party, the most valuable, most limited resource they have isn't hit points, it isn't gold, it's not even magic items. It's their attention. It's their time. There's only one of them, and they can only be in one place at any given time.
Early on, they were managing hit points and spell slots. Now, the real pressure comes from managing attention, priorities, and time. Just imagine the party learns that a dragon is attacking a town to the north, and in the exact same moment, a magical plague is breaking out in a city to the south. Now, they're powerful enough to handle either threat, but they can't be in both places. The choice itself is the challenge.
So, how do we introduce this kind of pressure? Well, it doesn't require complex new systems or a bunch of extra work. It really just comes down to a small but really significant shift in how we see the world.
The core assumption in so many games is that the world waits. The dragon waits in its lair until the heroes get there. The cult waits to complete its ritual until the party kicks down the door. We just have to let go of that one assumption.
What if the players hear about the plague and decide, okay, let's head south? What happens in that northern town with the dragon? It doesn't just hit pause, it moves forward without them.
And this isn't about punishing them for their choice, it's just about showing them the natural fallout. Weeks later, they travel north and they find the town in ruins. Or maybe it's not destroyed, but it's now paying this heavy tribute to the dragon. The world has changed because of a choice they made. That feeling at the table, when they see the real consequences of their priorities, that is the new pressure.
That's really all it is, the recognition that their power is great, yeah, but their attention is finite, and the world is very, very large. It's going to keep on spinning, and things are going to keep happening whether the heroes are there to stop them or not. And until next time, adventure on.